Hey, welcome back. I thought I would collect some seeds today from my garden. I grow in a zone 4B/5 zone here in Canada, and we've had some nice dry weather, so I thought it was the perfect day to save some seeds. So I'm going to take you through the why, the how, the what of seed saving today and my experience so far. So here's a little snippet of what we are saving today, and then we will get into the why. So a few reasons would be to preserve favorite colors and forms. Quite often we're growing seed packets or plants that are already established, but when we're saving a seed, it could have been cross-pollinated, which could give us a new and unique color or form. We're also wanting to encourage the adaptation of our local conditions. Seeds or plants rather that have grown in your garden are going to be giving you a stronger and more resilient plant that are a little bit more tolerant of your soil or your temperature and your region that you are living in. A few more reasons would of course be saving money, being self-reliant, and not purchasing any packages, of course. Another one would be you're creating a plant that probably produces more nectar, or it's more accessible with the pollen for your pollinators, which supports biodiversity. And then lastly, you are sharing the beauty and excitement of your garden with someone else. Now, of course, some flowers are easier to collect seeds than others. We will get into the specifics, of course, but also just be aware that perennials do need a cold stratification period, which just mimics the winter time temperatures. Now, the first flower we are going to save seeds from are zinnias, and this is arguably the easiest flower to save seeds from. Here I am collecting the dried flowers that have been spent. So of course you want to stop deadheading in order to make sure you get some of these. I've heard that you can harvest seeds from blooms that are still beautiful and fresh, but for me there is less risk involved when I am already getting them dry. So you can see they are shaped like little spades. From here, we want to remove the dried petal, any sort of organic material that can rot and cause them to decay. So you can see I've got quite a variety here. These are actually zinnias that a friend saved for me last year. So this is the second year I'm saving seed from them, and I would say they're close to like a Benary's giant purple. Really beautiful, very prolific bloomers and large blooms. So yeah, there are those little spade heads that you can see. So collect those and make sure they are dry. And a few more of the basics of seed saving would be to choose the right plant. Some plants are patented or hybrids, and they might not reproduce true, or it's actually illegal to propagate from them. So just be aware of that. And then also with pollinators, so bees are some of the main pollinators, and they can travel 300 feet to a mile depending on what their species is. So we want to make sure that we are sort of isolating the plants we're growing if we do care about that open pollination. Another thing is you want a mature flower. So a young flower will not be producing seed, so we want to make sure we are aware. The different ways a seed can be produced is from a pod or a tuft or a disc floret. There are many different ways a seed can be formed in the specific flower, so be aware of that. We want to dry them thoroughly. So like I said, we haven't had rain, making sure that all of these seeds are dry. We want to label and store them in a dry area. Silica packets come in handy for this. And lastly, if you want to test your germination, you can get a moist piece of paper towel and test to make sure that you did collect viable seeds instead of waiting till the spring. And this is just a simple chart to show you some of the common flowers. Okay, second flower is rudbeckia. This is another pretty easy flower to collect seeds from. You can see I still have some beautiful flowers that are fresh, but then I'm going for the dried ones. So you can see there is brown. You're going to want to see brown on a lot of these flowers. They are dry, and that tells us that they are ready to go. So these are also quite easy. You can see I'm just tapping on my paper plate and the seeds just pop right out. You don't even have to get rid of the chaff. You're just tapping it out, and those are those seeds, those black little pieces. Very, very easy. I can't wait to share these with my friends. I love this flower. So this is a single feverfew. Of course, feverfew comes in many different types, but this is probably one of my favorite ones. And because it is an open flower, it is easy to save seeds because we know that the bees are pollinating it because it has an open center, like I said. So here I am just snipping off some of the spent blooms. They are not only brown, but they are also dry as well. Again, two things you want to be looking for. So I'm just snipping off as many as I need. I'm collecting quite a lot on these. It also will help that these don't self-seed and take over. Feverfew has become a little bit unruly in my yard, I would say, but because I do love it, I'm okay with it self-seeding a little bit prolifically in my yard. So snipping off more, I probably got, I don't know, I would say 1,000 because every single tiny little flower has so many seeds packed into it. So here we are, we're going to break it apart and you will see just almost like a pinch, and that just pulls off the little seed heads. You can see they're very, very tiny, and these grow so easily. If I was growing them for myself, I would just sprinkle them directly onto the soil as they will grow and start producing next early summer, but I am saving some of these for friends, so I will be putting them into packets. Another pretty easy flower to collect seeds from would be echinacea. So these are the common purpurea, and you can see that the birds have actually started to harvest from these as well. So that's another consideration. We just want to make sure we're leaving some of these seeds that are a source of food for our wildlife alone. So yes, I'm saving some, but I'm definitely leaving plenty as well for the birds and all the different nature and wildlife to consume as well over the winter. And you can see, just like rudbeckia, a simple little tap against the plate and the seed will be released. And that's also an indicator to show you that it is ready to be released. And next we have allium. So these are purple sensation, and I grew these from bulbs, of course. So the thing about these is you might not get a bloom for at least 2 to 3 years. So these do self-seed pretty easily and readily. It's more of a waiting game. So once they reach maturity after 2 or 3 years, like I said, you will see some blooms. But as you can see, it is so easy to collect the seeds from these globes. Very, very easy. And usually I just let them self-seed and sort of fill in a garden bed. But like I said, I'm sharing some of these seeds, so I thought it would be beneficial to do so. I bought this from Costco, I believe. I think it was a 50 pack. And I've got quite a few in my garden already. But like I said, I'm so excited to see just this burst of purple globes in the springtime. So yeah, definitely worth the wait for these ones, and pretty easy to collect the seeds too if you look at it. So many seeds on each of those little globes. Very, very, very exciting. Here is another allium. So this is Millennium. I bought this as a plant, and it is also very, very easy to collect seed from, almost identical to the purple sensation. And these have reseeded for me as well. You can see smaller plants down beside the main plant, but it has taken them probably at least 2 years to sort of get to maturity in order to bloom. But here I am again, just tapping the seed head, and the black little seed will fall off from the globe. Very, very easy. This is another self-seeder. It seems to grow very, very well for me, not taking over or anything, but definitely reproducing itself around the garden. But again, I'm saving some seeds for friends. So here I am collecting some of the discs. So these are an umbral flower, which means they've got, you know, a spray of flowers sort of flat in an umbrella shape. And once they are dry, again, we're looking for brown, dry. Those are all the indicators to tell us that there's the right maturity in order to know this plant has indeed produced a seed. And yarrow was actually one of the trickier ones for me. Some of the flowers that I collected were brown and dry, but they didn't seem to have a seed in them. So the key with this one is to make sure it definitely is dry and brown. And even the different colors of browns will tell you the maturity of the plant. So here I am sort of pinching it together. We will find seed in this one, but not as many as the other one I found later in this video. So I kind of just put it back into the garden and thought, this one might not be worth it. I'm going to look for one that's a little bit further along because that one didn't give me many. So I grabbed myself another handful, and here you can see up close between the chaff, which is not the viable seed, and the actual seed. You can see the distinction of both once they are right next to each other. So there you go. The one with sort of the white outlying edge is in fact the seed. So not too difficult, just make sure that that yarrow plant is further along than you would think. And here is after I gathered quite a few more. You can see that dark brown on the right-hand side. That definitely was giving me a lot more mature seeds, and I'm very, very hopeful that they are viable. I love yarrow. I want to pass on the love of yarrow. If you're not growing it, definitely make sure you have it in your yard for next year. And then we have some sunflowers. So I think some of these are branching, some of these are single stem, but we're going to look for the same thing for both of them. I think the majority of these were Autumn Beauty, which is a branching variety. So here we are in my little sunflower patch. The squirrels and chipmunks and birds have collected a lot of them actually. As I was going through, it was quite entertaining to see how many of them were actually already taken, which is good. I want to make sure that they also have the food too. So here I am clipping. I've got two plates. I've got one for a branching variety, one for single stem, and that's just what I've done just to keep kind of track of what I'm growing. So here I'm inspecting the head to see if all of the seeds have been eaten or if the seeds have actually been matured. So we all know what sunflower seeds look like, and you can kind of see as you're brushing away sort of like the dried up petals, you can see if it has started to mature. It's actually quite easy to save these. The only trick with sunflowers is these are not ready to go. Once I'm clipping them, they're going to be sitting on my paper plate, or you can put them in a paper bag for, I don't know, a few days or a week, because they do need to dry out. Sunflower seeds are quite moist. The actual seed has a lot of water content in it, so just to ensure or prevent rot, I would encourage you to do that. So there they are. Another super, super easy flower or seed rather to save is echinacea or globe thistle. These blue spiky flowers add a lot of interest. They're beautiful. So here you are. It's literally squeezing it off the plant. That is so, so easy. And I sometimes just spread them, just throw them right down on the ground. These ones I'm not giving to a friend, so just a sprinkle to the ground to ensure I get more next year. And the next one is Scabiosa. This is the perennial Scabiosa fama morgana, I believe. And this is white. So yeah, the one on the right's not quite ready. The one on the left is brown and dry. Again, two of the indicators that tell us that it's ready to go. And you can see how easily the seed wants to leave the seed head. Definitely no pulling is necessary to show you that it's ready to go. And again, I'm just gonna self-seed these, scatter them around, making sure I get more of this beautiful flower next year. This is another flower that I see has already been tested or tasted or harvested by my little friends in the garden. So I'm happy to see that, but I also want to make sure I have more of this plant next year. This one's super easy. If you haven't done this, I definitely encourage you to try. Marigolds are so, so easy to save seeds, and the seeds are quite large too. So if you do have a child, this would be a good one for them to do because it's rather easy to pull the seed heads apart and very easy to spot the seed as well. So here we are. You can see the black and white striped seed is the seed. Couldn't be easier. Calendula might even be easier. So these are just actually plants that I have just let self-seed over and over again in my garden. I find them very beneficial. And you can see they become almost curved. Very, very easy to spot, very easy to just leave in your soil for next spring so that they will germinate and get ready for your garden. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this was informative. If you have any questions or experience, I would love to hear from you, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.